Hello, for project 5 we're gonna work on autumn scene, and I have a lot of reference pictures, and the techniques that I am going to use is already introduced and then practiced before, but just to clear the technique while working on a certain scene that would help you to understand when to use. I'm gonna start with a very simple tree, very vivid color and contrast. I'll just do this single beautiful fall leaf tree by that water. Composition is kind of similar. This is square, but having tree towards the left and the leaves towards the right to balance and have some kind of background. Using 2 basic brushes, round 12 liner number 2. So first, with that paper, just a little bit, so have wet on wet. This paper is 7.5 by 11. It's an 1/8 sheet of paper, kind of warm, light blue sky. The water reflect the sky a little bit. Background, a little bit of green, and then a little bit of oranges and reds. Paper towel, just to have kind of streaks of water, ripple. I'm gonna put some leaves, so while it's wet over here with nice and bright fall color. Kind of tapping motion. I'm mixing red and orange. Maybe get some darker red. And some purple. And I'm gonna splatter. Tap, 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 tap. And then can go back and then smear some of that area. And then you can work on the bottom part, which is the fall leaves. Everywhere ground has a little bit of green. And have some red. Little grass. And I'm gonna work a little bit of behind here, maybe with a skinny brush to give definition on the back. So this is getting dried, and I'm gonna try to make a tree with a dark color. I'll use smaller brush. I can go some parts. while this is wet, use the dry brush and then smear the bottom. Adding a little bit of overlapping textures to blend that smear. Okay, so there's a big branch. Just making up, don't have to follow what's there. Okay. The wet area blended all the splatter, so I want to go over a little bit of more splatter and then the end. And I'll just go over and then have a little bit of different mark making. The bottom part too. And a little darker purple for shadows. That should be it. Alright, let me get a little bit more right here. Right, sign the bottom. So splattering really helps to gives that energetic fall season, vivid bright fall leaves, and having the muted color on the background helps to bring out the foreground contrast. The next one, I like to show you how to do some scrape off. Like this one is a good example, having the tree, just a highlight from the sun. We can scrape that with sharp edge, fingers, knife, back of the brush. I'll use the knife. So going this way again. First, I'm gonna wet the paper very lightly, not too much. Work on the sky. It's very nice. And then work on reflection, which is a little darker. Work on the lighter color, which is yellow, and reflections too. And orange. And getting closer to red, but still orange, red orange, and reflections as well. And this picture doesn't have bright red, but I like to use full colors. So this red, I'm gonna mix some red to mute the color. More sticking up. Darker ground, getting little darks on the water, the horizon line of land, and water. Line a brush and line them up a little bit. Ripple effect is the bluer color with very still water, but helps to have some kind of difference between reflection and the real nature. And have some darker tree. And then the reflections. A little bit of splattering. Just give a little more color. Orange. More yellower. Blue, darker color, maybe blue and green and purple all together. Okay, now I'm gonna scrape the line. When you scrape out, the color has to be wet, so hopefully it's not dry. There you go. So if I go over the darker area, I can show a little more. I can go the bottom reflection too. With the water ripple. I'm gonna just make that line a little bit more clear. Just adding little details of the reflection. I'm gonna add that reflection here. Like this one has a little, like a foreground, so I can have a little shadowy foreground. Green. And then I can even scrape this too. Let's get some foreground details. Oh, colors here, so balance is better. Okay, so this one is kind of played with that scrape off on that tree on the back, reflections and a foreground bush.